Hey everybody, I'm going to talk about another rare W. We got a couple today. We got to celebrate every single one of them, every single one. So let's get to celebrating this one. Supreme Court blocks for now the new deportations under the Alien Enemies Act. Very cool. So this was a 7-2 ruling, and they are blocking any of new deportations out of the country. So, in the brief order, the court directed the Trump administration not to remove Venezuelans held in the detention center until further order. So this was great. Clarence Thomas and Samuel Alito dissented. Clarence Thomas isn't a surprise. I'm surprised he didn't dissent with the first ruling that was 9-0, but because he's a horrible person, and I'm surprised he voted for anything good. But whatever. So it's still 7-2, and the Supreme Court, they passed this emergency appeal in the middle of the night. They didn't wait for anyone's dissent. They just passed it. They said, they are not allowing this illegal and unconstitutional removal of people without due process, because it's guaranteed within the Constitution that any man is guaranteed due process. Not any citizen, not any person within this country is guaranteed some kind of due process, and they're really just ripping it away from everybody. And they continuously are denying the courts, lying to the courts, not appealing to what they want. And I'm not saying I'm Mr. Law and Order, Mr. Judiciary, but at least in some of these circumstances, this balance of power has to be respected, or it all goes up in smoke. You can tell it's all a house of cards once you start pulling away these little strings. So how bad does it really have to get? Now, the Supreme Court did say that they had to. Now, why? They did say they had to get Abrego Garcia back, and the Trump regime did not facilitate that release. They've still been putting out roadblocks, and not only that, but they also lied on the Supreme Court and said that, they actually say we didn't have to do that, and we've been doing everything right. So I'm pretty sure the Supreme Court at this point is being, in a way, very petty, because they're angry with the Trump regime for not listening to anything that they have to say. So they're really, this is really going to push us to the very brink, stretch us to the very brink of how far this fascist regime is going to go. So this is funny. So the Trump administration later Saturday filed paperwork urging the High Court to reconsider its hold. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, Satan herself, said Saturday in a post, "We are confident we will ultimately prevail against the onslaught of meritless litigation brought by radical activists." So this is what's funny. This is a Trump Supreme Court. He instituted most of these people into the High Court, and they're the ones that are fighting him. So to call them radical activists, I don't think anybody would call our Supreme Court radical. They did to overturn Roe v. Wade. So I don't really. But you look at these cases, and you look at the fight between the judiciary branch and the executive branch. So who's going to win out at the end? They keep pushing these limits for Trump, and Trump keeps pushing back. There's going to come a point, I feel like, where they're going to have to stand by exactly what they said, and they're going to have to somehow enforce it. So how is this going to be possible? Well, the only way I can see is that if the military does get involved, then there's going to have to be, hopefully, a balance of power where the military won't completely turn against the people. So why is this a W? why is this a W? And again, we're going to take every little W that we got and we're going to expand on it and we're going to love it because there's not a lot that are coming down the pipeline. So this is a W because it puts another block in front of Trump. The farther he gets to violating these pure black and white court orders, and the farther he gets into exposing his fascist regime for what it is, the more that the people are going to rebel. These hands-off protests, these millions of people are going to turn, it's going to turn into what's next? A general strike? Sanctions? Against our own country? How about we just stop buying American? But no, what's really going to happen? These protests lead to a strike, which is going to lead to us actually making a difference. You see it in some senators and some Congress people, that they're already afraid of their constituents. They're already afraid that Trump, they know Trump is taking it too far, and they can't co-sign everything that he does. So even the Supreme Court, even Trump-appointed lawyers, even Trump-appointed judges are saying, man, you're taking it too far. You got to pull it back. You're letting the mask slip too much. So I do wonder how far this will go. This tug of war between the Supreme Court and the presidency, he keeps violating every single order. Then what do we get? We get to contempt of court. So there's two ways to go with contempt of court. You can go with the civil or criminal. Anything criminal that's going to be laid at Trump's feet or any of his friends, his little sycophants, can be pardoned. But civil charges. Now, we can find these people to kingdom come. If we know if at the end of the day all these people really care about is their money. So would that work? Would any of these people be looking at jail time? Sitting behind bars? It'd be interesting for it all to fall down for that reason. All the illegal things that they're doing, and then they get arrested for contempt. So when I look at this again, I see it as a victory. We have to celebrate all of those. And even though the Supreme Court is definitely evil, definitely not on our side, this is going to be a good thing in the long run, because the more Trump violates the court orders, the more the court is just going to want to pick a fight with him, and the more it exposes the fascist regime for what it is, the complete lack and utter taste for democracy, their complete disdain for the American people. And so this can't be considered anything but a win.